What is good, Neo family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about the one and only Neo stock and help you guys better understand the price action of Neo and what you should be anticipating for the next upcoming years. I'm also going to give you guys my price prediction for where I see this thing going into the future. Now, before I say any price predictions, before I help you guys better understand the share price and what the data is suggesting, I do have to mention some very important things first. The first thing is I'm not a financial planner, so please don't take this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. And not only benefits me, it benefits the entire Neo community as a whole. And the last thing is, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link down below in the description. If you do sign up for Moomoo and deposit $100, you're not only going to qualify for up to 5 free stocks, each worth up to $3,500, but you're also going to get a free Neo share. So if you want a free Neo share, check out the link down below. With that out of the way, guys, let's get on with the video. So looking at Neo, as you guys can see, this thing is a monster. It's an absolute monster. So Neo was recently listed on the Hong Kong exchange. So that means that Americans like you and me, if you want to invest in the Hong Kong exchange and actually invest in Neo through that, you could use brokerages like Moomoo to do that or other things like that. And that gives you a big hedge against the fear spread by the media and other people out there that this thing is going to get delisted. But I don't see that happening, guys. In fact, I'm very bullish for the future of this company. Now, I believe Neo is very close to its bottom right now. There are only so many more dollars it can actually drop to, and I see a lot of very bullish price action coming out in the future. Now, why do I say that? You guys are probably wondering. You've been hearing me say that for quite some time. Well, when I talk about Neo going to the moon, you have to remember that I'm very bullish for it, but it's also a very manipulated stock. I mean, if you look at the offlet exchange data from what all this data is showing, look at the exchange volume, you could see 45, 50, 60% of trades aren't even happening on lit exchanges. They're happening on off-lit exchanges and dark pools. There's manipulation, there's shorting, there are all sorts of crazy things that are bringing the price down because a lot of retail were buying into this company. And hedge funds, shorts, they're hammering it. They're trying to scare people into selling. And this is typically what they've been doing. And as a result, guys, Neo does have relatively high short interest at around like almost 5%. So because the short interest is that high compared to other companies out there, in my opinion, it's a very good short squeeze target. And one thing that might end up helping it, at least in some ways, would be not just the market, but this right here. I mean, we're seeing inflation soar in the US. 7.9% CPI rate was just announced. So I expect next week, I think the Fed is going to basically address this by raising rates. And this is one of the many ways that they do this. Obviously, they could also, kind of cut uh, their spending in many ways. And on top of that, I basically see many hikes coming. And I want to ask you a question. Who's going to get hit the most? People, the people that are using their checking accounts, or people that are trading on margin, right? People that own money or people that are borrowing money. And obviously, those who are borrowing money are going to be in a very tough state. So if you keep borrowing all this money and you're shorting companies like AMC, like GME, like Neo, eventually the bubble is going to burst when there's a lot of hype, when it becomes too expensive for you to maintain those positions, which is why I'm still believe Neo is going to be a short squeeze target. In fact, I think it has a lot of short squeeze potential. Now, I have talked about that, and when taking that into account, I don't know exactly when the short squeeze is going to come, right? It may happen later this year, maybe next year. I don't know. But let's just assume it were to happen this year. How would I see this thing moving? I also want to take into account the market cap of Neo because I think a lot of people have talked about that. Right now it's at 28 billion. Now, going into the future, for Neo to hit a price of like 250 a share, its market cap would have to be 400 billion. Considering that we're seeing inflation and the fact that Tesla's already at over 800 billion, it's very possible for Neo to break that quite easily, actually. So, given that, and given the fact that it's a short squeeze target, I'm going to give you guys a prediction. So, I think Neo is close to its bottom. If it does drop a little bit, then so be it. Maybe it could drop a little bit more. If it does drop like that, I anticipate that once we get out of that channel, after the rate hikes are priced in, I see a lot of bullish action for this company, right? Like this in the few months coming. And what I think is going to happen is, as this thing starts to soar to the upside, as we start to see small and mid cap stocks rise, towards the end of this year, or maybe sometime next year, I think that's the most probable timing. It might be, involved in a massive short squeeze, causing the price to hike just like this, perhaps to like the 60s, something like that. Maybe towards the end of this year, and then it's going to drop after that, kind of like that. But then I see Neo kind of trading sideways for a little bit of time before it really starts to show how big it really is. And it starts running and running and running. Because next year, that's when I think this thing could may perhaps go to the $100 range. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something like that. So if Neo were to go to 100, that would put the market cap at under 100 billion. I'm sorry, 200 billion. That still is very possible. And we could descend a little bit like this. And going into the year 2024, I wouldn't be surprised. Okay, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw this thing kind of slow down a little bit, but peak at around $150 a share to 175. That's where I could see another peak. What could happen is we end up dropping a little bit after that. I don't know what could really happen. And then what could happen is we drop very low. It's maybe like 110, 115. Then we have Neo Day, and boom, this thing runs really hard during Neo Day. And sometime, I would say by 2025, this thing could easily soar around a 400 billion market cap, maybe higher. But I'm going to be a little bit, I'm going to try to price this as realistically as I can just for you guys. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw this thing trading like this in this range, the 200s, less than a few years away, guys. And that's the point I'm trying to make. Super bullish on this thing. This line right here is where the $400 billion market cap would be. So based off what I think, if you buy into Neo, and this is not financial advice, by the way, but let's just say hypothetically, if this thing were to squeeze, maybe it'll go higher to like $100. I don't know, guys. I mean, it really depends on how many synthetics there are, or things like that. But if this thing starts to run, if you buy at 17, you'll have the ability to 2, 3, 4x your money in a relatively short period of time. But if you want to hold it for the long term, buying at 17, for it to hit that $400 billion market cap, or around $250 a share, you just got to hold your shares. And you could easily, in my opinion, not financial advice, but I think this thing has the potential to easily 10x or 15x. This would be a 14x from the current share price in just a few years. Right? That's a really good return. Compare that to the 10% return per year on average from the S&P 500. You guys could see exactly what I'm saying. So I'm very bullish. Very, very bullish for Neo. I'm seeing the fundamentals growing. I'm seeing them expand to different countries. I'm seeing their brand improve. I'm seeing them produce more cars. They're innovating with new technology. They're innovating in Silicon Valley. They're on the Hong Kong exchange. They're a great company. They're a great company. And these shorts that keep on shorting it, they're going to suffer, guys. I think it's just a matter of time, because the current market conditions are making it very, very difficult for them. Anyways, that's what I have for this one. It is very possible for us to easily crush this. We could actually break past these numbers way earlier. It's possible for this to happen, right? I could change this up. Hold on. What if I try this? I just changed the color, and let me redraw it. It's also very possible for by next year us to go to the hundreds, and the year after, it's very possible for us to run even higher, right? All the way up like this. This thing could hit those levels within 2 years. I know that sounds crazy, but seeing the growth and what this thing is capable of, it could just keep soaring like that. It still is possible. So I just want to be conservative with the estimates. Even if this thing barely breaks 200 by 2025, that's a very good return you'll make. 2025 is less than 3 years away. And we're talking about 10, 15xing your money. in such a short period of time. That's incredible. And like I said, non-financial advice, but you guys understand my point. We're very bullish on this company. Very, very bullish considering the fundamentals. That's what I have for this one. I want to thank you for listening. There are going to be tough times. It may last another few weeks, a few months, but I'm not losing faith. I'm still very bullish long term. That's what I have for this one. I want to thank you all for listening, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Neo to the moon, and peace out.